So I thought we'd go camping today, no guitars. That's my wine tonight. It's about 2 large glasses of dry white wine. I'll stick that in the river now. Man must have his comforts. Do you want to see around my home for tonight? Let's go take a look. And here we have it, my little Hilleberg Nyack. Great little tent. There's my wee crib for tonight. Nice sleeping bag there. Plenty of space for a one-man guitar show. Space there for my Gibson Les Paul. Look at that, you can see my tent. You can just see the top there. Hello. Can I go past you? Right, I've been for my walk. Let's do 2 things now. Let's go and get some water from the river. So we'll fill up this bag and that'll do all my cups of teas, coffees or whatever. I could drink it as well if I really needed to. I've got one of these little Sawyer filters, but I have some drinking water separately anyway because I didn't have to walk very far from the car to my site. Right, let's go and find my wine because I put it in the river here somewhere. See if the river's washed it away. I'm going to be like totally cheesed off. Oh yes. Time for a wee glass of vino. So I think this holds 2 large glasses, maybe a tiny bit more, not entirely sure. I usually measure it. Let's go with that. Right, what will we talk about? Let's talk about guitars and guitar related stuff, right? Ooh, I like a nice glass of wine. Right, here's one. I've got a list of things that we could talk about. First one is, do you have a guitar that you're kind of lukewarm about? That should be good on paper, but just leaves you a little bit, you just don't pick it up as much as maybe you feel you should because you spent the money on it, or it was given to you as a present or something. It could be a really expensive guitar that's a fine guitar, but just doesn't have any mojo, or whatever. For me, can you guess? It's the Stratocaster. Custom shop Stratocaster. I should love it. I bought it for its looks and because every man should have a Stratocaster. That was the idea. But I just don't play it as much as I should, and it's ironic because the last few videos have both been Stratocaster. But I'm definitely, I would say I'm not a Strat guy. Do you have a guitar like that? And it keeps coming up, and therefore every time I fall in love with a new item I think, oh, if I sold this Strat I could get such and such money maybe and I could put it towards it. But there's a wee voice at the back of my head says, Paul, don't sell the Strat. Even the Vox video I did, it's nice to have a guitar that isn't fat and creamy sounding, that is plinky and got a really thin vintage voice. It's good to have that. Doesn't mean I want to play it tomorrow. I probably won't play it for another 3 weeks. But I guess it's back to that every man should have to have a Strat, or even more widely, every man should have single coils and humbuckers. I say every man. I'll be non-gender specific. Any musician should have both, really, if they can afford it, to get the best of both worlds. So I don't think I'll sell the Strat, but I keep looking at Reverb and seeing guitars thinking, a Gibson SG from 1961 or something. Wow, £6,900 because it's been modified and therefore the value comes to. I'm thinking, I would play that more than I would play my Strat. I'll sell the Strat, but no, I don't think I'm going to do that. These are the wee thoughts that go through my head. Here's another one. You may have noticed I only have the icons. I have Fender Tellys, Fender Strats, Gibson Les Pauls, Gibson 335. I don't have any sewer or custom, builds or McMull or these boutique makers that sort of take the original designs from the 50s and 60s and so-called improve on them. I don't have any of that. I'm not really attracted to any of that. I wonder why that is. I think it comes back to the same reason I bought the Vox and the Marshall and the Cornell, which I guess is a 50s Fender Tweed clone. I just love the icons, and to see the word sewer on the top, I don't know, everybody raves about them, and a lot of these designs tried to fix what was wrong with the real ones, the 50s and 60s guitars. I don't think that stuff needs fixed. Yeah, Gibson Les Paul G-string sometimes pings and doesn't stay in tune as well as it should because of the angle. Telecasters and Strats don't have enough frets. Who cares? We've not got any business being up that far up the neck anyway. Les Paul's heavy. Yeah, it doesn't really bother me. Yeah, I just don't think, like when I look at the tuning pegs on my Fender Telecaster, the Relic Telecaster, they're rubbish. Well, they tune up well and they hold the tune of the guitar, but see when you slacken off, you're twisting for sometimes 360 degrees, sometimes more than that before the string drops its tune. Makers like Sewer and McMull and PRS would laugh at that, saying that's why we make the guitars we do. But, so what? Eventually the guitar drops down and then you tune it back up and it always tunes back up nice. But I can get on with the guitar's problems. I really don't mind the guitar's problems as long as it looks iconic. Right, here's another one. Madison Cunningham. 1D. Madison Cunningham. Incredible. She blows my mind. Tom Bukovac's channel, Tom was talking to that amazing piano player, George Mote. What a great video that is from Tom Bukovac. Watch it just to revel in a man this George Mote guy, who is just plugged into the mains, man. He is just... Anyway, he was talking about who he's listening to at the moment. Tom Bukovac calls it what's on your front burner, what's on your mind. And he said, my daughter brought home Madison Cunningham's CD or something or whatever. And he started raving about how good she is. Oh my goodness. I might put some links in this video of my favourite of her YouTube performances because, gosh, it's just incredible. Her guitar playing is amazing. She drops tune all the time. She plays in open C and weird tunings. She's funky. She's got a beautiful voice. And there's just something about her performances. Blows me away. Quick interjection about my camping in general, right? There's two sides to me. I've always loved guitars, of course, but I've always loved camping and wildlife, particularly bears. For some reason, I am fascinated by bears. I've been to British Columbia and I've been to Alaska in my life on my own. Too scared to camp. Took my tent. I was too scared to pitch it. I slept in the back of my hire car. But anyway, camping is something I've always done, and because I've done it for so many years over my life, I've kind of refined it down to a fine art. I've got all the right stuff that makes my life easy. It's constantly evolving and constantly refining, but I've got the tent that suits me, the cook system that suits me, the way to build a fire that suits me, the clothes that suit me. I've just got to refine to a fine art. I keep my rucksack packed at all times, so when I decide to go camping, there's not a massive job to think, and I've got a do list of things to pack, so all I do is just hatch out the do list and add the things that have to be added for that particular camp. It doesn't take very long, and I love it. I love the peace. I love having a wee alcoholic drink by the river, or here, sort of in the wild. I just love it. I don't get rat-arsed, but I get, you know, a couple of large wines, and just love the peace. I just love it. All my life I've done this. I love it. I love listening to nothing and just hearing the birds, hearing the river, cuddling up in my sleeping bag at night. It's brilliant. Oh yeah, theory. I've always had a chip on my shoulder about guitar theory. And although I'm learning more and more chords, which is my weakness, chords, not knowing enough chords, watching Ariel Posen and his mates playing jazzy chords, and it's an insecurity of mine. So you probably notice I'm learning more and more jazzy chords and knowing when to put them in. But I have this enduring chip on my shoulder about theory, and it just got me to thinking, I wonder how much my heroes knew about theory. Good wine this. Theory. I mean, take Rory Gallagher, young lad. He's not going to have spent years learning about theory. Roy Buchanan, doubt it. Eric Clapton, rumours are that between the Yardbirds and the Bluesbreakers, he did shut himself in a room and learn to play guitar, but I doubt it was theory. Who else? Carlos Santana, stoned on LSD, playing Woodstock. Really? Lots of theory knowledge? Nah. So all the guys I've looked up to have not been theory guys. And so if theory is the right way for you to go, do it and get as much pleasure out of it as you can, and it will make you more rounded. But if you have to do it that way, do it that way. That's your way. Everybody's different. But for every 16 hours you spend learning theory, 16 hours you could have spent working on your vibrato or listening and being inspired by your heroes. Hear a solo, decide why it was so good. Unless it's way beyond you, learn it, and then it is good at some point to go back and think, was that the major scale he was playing, or was that the blues scale, or was he outside the scales playing some sort of weird diminished type stuff? But learn it first, figure out how to put it into your solos, then go onto YouTube, find a backing track that's similar, you know, either a fast shuffle or a slow moody minor blues, whatever it is, and see if you can get that same type of stuff into your lick, and then before you know it, you've got what I always talk about, which is another tool in your toolbox. You've got another technique or another place to go that's outside the blues scale or whatever. Fast forward 10 years, play well. Take that, Bear Grylls. Starving. Pre-cooked pasta, a shitload of pre-cooked veg. All I had to do was to add the pasta sauce. So good. Right, good night. Morning. So leave no trace and all that, so here's my campsite.